Something in your phone is about to feel different today, Gemini. Not because anyone is hiding anything from you, because for the first time in a while, your own words are about to carry more weight than usual, and you may not fully understand why until you send the first message. At the same moment, there is a part of you that has quietly changed and has no intention of telling anyone about it. Two very different currents are moving through your day, one public and playful, one private and almost secretive. The interesting part is how they end up shaping the exact same decision by tonight. The bigger picture. Start with what is happening in the sky, because it explains almost everything else. From the Western tropical perspective, Mercury, your own ruling planet, is sitting in your third house of communication and forming a sextile to Venus in your fifth house of creativity and romance. A sextile is a supportive, low-friction aspect. It does not force anything. It simply opens a door and waits to see if you will walk through it. Mercury rules the way you think and speak. Venus rules what you find beautiful, desirable, and worth pursuing. When these two shake hands today, your words pick up warmth, timing, and a kind of effortless charm that usually takes real effort to fake. In Hellenistic tradition, Mercury is honored as Gemini's own domicile ruler, the planet most at home describing who you are. So when your ruler is the one making the favorable connection today, the message is not abstract. This is your own voice being amplified, not someone else's energy passing through you. At the same time, in Vedic or sidereal tradition, today's most emphasized placement is the moon transiting through Leo. According to Astrology's Vedic reading, this brings a mood of revival, a pull toward novelty, and a natural urge to step outside routine. Vedic timing traditions single out the window between 10 in the morning and 11:15 as especially favorable for anything significant you want to start. Here is where the two systems, working independently, land on the same conclusion from different directions. The Western lens sees a mind and heart aspect that makes self-expression easy today. The Vedic lens sees an emotionally revitalized moon that makes you want to break from the ordinary and actually use that expression. Different frameworks, same day, same invitation. You are not just able to communicate well today, you are also emotionally primed to want to. But there is a third layer running beneath both of these, quieter and much more personal. From a psychological and evolutionary standpoint, Chiron, the wounded healer, is transiting Taurus inside your 12th house, the house of the unconscious, of what stays hidden even from people closest to you. This is not something you are meant to announce or journal about for someone else to read. It is private work on your own relationship with yourself, done entirely on your own terms. You may notice this show up as a quiet preoccupation, something you are turning over internally that nobody else has access to, and honestly does not need to. That contrast is the real shape of your day. Outwardly expressive, warm, socially alive. Inwardly guarded, exploratory, almost secretive. Both are legitimate. Neither cancels the other out. Love. This is where the sextile between Mercury and Venus becomes personal instead of theoretical. If there is someone you have been circling, someone you like but have not quite closed the loop with, today gives your words unusual charm without unusual effort. The risk is not saying too little. It is saying too much across too many directions at once. You might feel the urge to send 5 different clever messages instead of one honest one. Resist that. One well-aimed sentence will land harder than a scattershot of half-finished thoughts. If you are single, this is a good day to notice who makes you curious rather than who is simply available. The Leo moon adds warmth and a desire to be seen, which can tempt you into performing charm instead of offering something real. The astrology actually rewards the opposite. A single sincere line, an honest compliment, an actual invitation with a time attached does more work than a paragraph of wit. If you are in a relationship, the same aspect favors deliberate romantic gestures over vague ones. Today supports proposing an actual plan, a specific time, a specific place, rather than a loose someday. Romance eventually needs logistics, and today you have the communicative ease to supply both the warmth and the details. If you are the one usually waiting to be planned for, this is a day where taking that role yourself can land as more meaningful than expected. Here is the emotional question worth sitting with. What if the thing holding a connection back is not a lack of feeling, but a lack of follow-through? You may have noticed this pattern before: plenty of warmth, not enough structure. Today's chart gives you both. The gap closes the moment you stop editing and start proposing something concrete. And underneath all of that outward warmth, remember the 12th house current still running. You may find that even while you are being open and playful with someone else, there is a part of your inner world you are still keeping entirely to yourself. That is not contradiction. That is simply two different kinds of intimacy operating at once, one shared, one sacred. Career. That same principle, sincerity over performance, extends directly into your professional world. The Mercury-Venus sextile does not only make you charming in romance, it makes your ideas more persuasive in general. A pitch, a proposal, a quick email you have been overthinking, all of these benefit from the same discipline that helps in love. Pick one idea, polish it lightly, send it before you talk yourself out of it through endless revision. You may have noticed lately that your best professional instincts arrive quickly, and your worst habit is second-guessing them into blandness. Tade's energy specifically favors trusting the first sharp version over the 10th overworked one. The Leo moon adds a layer of visibility here too. People are more likely to notice your input today, so it is worth choosing the one contribution you actually want remembered, rather than scattering your energy across every conversation in the room. If a work decision needs to be finalized, Vedic timing traditions point to the late morning window, roughly 10 to 11:15, as a favorable stretch for taking action rather than continuing to deliberate. Money. The same clarity that serves your career today extends naturally into your finances. Some interpretations of today's chart point toward positive movement around money, whether that shows up as a piece of good news, an unexpected opportunity, or simply a sense of relief around something you had been worried about. It is worth pairing that optimism with a small amount of caution in your close relationships. Financial disagreements can surface more easily around emotionally charged days like this one, especially if money conversations get mixed up with unspoken expectations about generosity or fairness. If a financial decision is tied to a relationship, whether personal or professional, today rewards the same clarity you are being asked to bring everywhere else. Say the actual number. Name the actual concern. Vague financial conversations create more friction than direct ones, even when the direct version feels a little uncomfortable to start. Health. Here is the detail worth pausing on before anything else in this section. That quiet 12th house process from earlier is not only emotional. It often shows up physically as well, particularly around sleep, dreams, or a subtle heaviness that seems to have no obvious external cause. If you have felt a little more inward or tired than usual without being able to explain why, this may be part of the reason. Some Vedic practitioners view this kind of inward pull as a sign that quiet reflective practices, meditation, journaling privately for yourself alone, rather than for anyone else, or simply spending unstructured time in nature can be more restorative right now than trying to power through with pure activity. If your birth chart specifically supports certain planetary remedies, some Vedic practitioners may recommend gemstones or mantras tailored to your individual chart. But this is never universal advice. Gemstone prescription in Vedic tradition requires personal chart analysis, not a blanket recommendation for an entire sign. On the more everyday side, today also favors a bit of extra attention toward your skincare and general physical routine. Nothing dramatic, small, consistent care rather than a complete overhaul. The Leo Moon's revitalizing quality supports gentle renewal more than intense reinvention today. Home and family. That same balance between visible warmth and private processing plays out at home too. You may find yourself more sociable with family or housemates today, more willing to suggest doing something different than the usual routine, in keeping with the Leo Moon's restless, revitalizing pull. At the same time, do not be surprised if you also crave a little solitude within that same household, a closed door for 20 minutes, a walk alone before dinner. Both impulses are valid, and expressing the need for a bit of privacy honestly will land better with people close to you than quietly withdrawing without explanation. If a small disagreement about money or responsibilities comes up with someone at home, the same directness that serves your finances elsewhere applies here. Naming the specific concern early prevents it from growing into something bigger by evening. Travel and spirit. There is a thread running through today that keeps pointing toward growth through unfamiliar experience, whether that means an actual trip or simply stepping outside a routine that has started to feel too small. Some readings for today specifically highlight travel, even mentioning a trip somewhere like Spain as a source of joy and new experience. Whether or not travel is realistic for you right now, the underlying invitation is the same. Expose yourself to something outside the ordinary rhythm of your week. Learning a new language, having a conversation in an unfamiliar setting, or simply changing your physical environment for a few hours can all satisfy the same astrological hunger for renewal. This is also where the private 12th house work from earlier quietly resurfaces. Real spiritual growth right now may not look like a grand gesture. It may look like a small, unspoken shift in how you relate to yourself, one that nobody else witnesses and that you are not required to explain to anyone. Picture it like tending a garden behind a wall only you can see over. Nobody else needs to see the flowers for them to be real. Lucky signs. If you are looking for a small edge today, Vedic tradition points to green as a favorable color to wear, tied to the day's supportive influences. The most productive window for important decisions or conversations falls between 10 in the morning and 11:15. Energetically, you are likely to find the easiest connection with people who share your Leo Moon's warmth and directness, so bold, expressive company may bring out your best today. Trust the early instinct rather than the overthought version of anything you are about to say or send. Tay's guidance. By now, the shape of your day should feel less like a list of separate topics and more like one connected story. Your ruler Mercury is making your communication effortless and charming. The Leo Moon is making you want to use that charm somewhere real instead of scattering it. And underneath both, a quieter process is asking you to hold something private, something that belongs only to you, without needing to explain it to anyone. The through line is simple. Even if the day feels layered, say the one true thing instead of the 10 polished things. Propose the plan instead of hinting at it. Protect the quiet part of yourself instead of performing it for an audience. None of this requires certainty about outcomes, only honesty about intention. Whatever conversation, decision, or private reflection you have been circling, today's chart is not telling you what will happen next. It is simply making it easier than usual to stop overthinking and actually begin. That is the part worth remembering long after today ends.